I didn't think the worst night of my life would start with applause. Not the polite kind, either. The loud kind, the kind that makes you believe you finally made it. The ballroom was packed, glasses, clinking music, humming low under the chatter, and my husband, Ryan Keller, stood right in the middle of it, soaking it all in like he deserved every second. People slapped his back, managers laughed at his jokes, someone even raised a glass and shouted his name. And me. I stood near the entrance holding a small clutch fingers tight around something inside it, wondering how a room this bright could feel so cold. I almost didn't go. He'd told me earlier that week I should probably stay home, said it casually like it was for my own good. "These events are intense," he said, adjusting his cufflinks in the mirror. "You don't really vibe with corporate crowds, you know what I mean?" I did know what he meant. I just didn't want to admit how much it hurt. Still, I went. Not to prove anything, not to make a scene. I went because there was something I needed to say, something that had been growing quietly inside me, something that changed everything. Ryan saw me about 5 minutes after I walked in. I watched his face shift before he even reached me. The smile tightened, the jaw clenched. He grabbed my wrist and leaned in, voice low and sharp. "What are you doing here?" he whispered. "I told you this wasn't your scene." I tried to laugh it off, said I just wanted to congratulate him, maybe talk for a minute. That's when he pulled me behind one of those decorative pillars like we were hiding from the world, his fingers digging into my arm. "You're embarrassing me," he hissed. "You look out of place." I reached into my clutch hands, shaking, heart racing, and pulled out the folded photo. I hadn't even unfolded it yet when he slapped it out of my hand. It fluttered to the floor between our shoes. "Not now," he snapped. "You always do this. You pick the worst moments." I bent to grab it, and that's when he shoved me. Hard. I remember the sound before the pain, the sharp echo as my body hit the floor, the way my arms curled around my stomach without me even thinking about it. The music didn't stop. People gasped, then looked away. Someone laughed awkwardly, like it was nothing. I lay there staring at the ceiling lights, thinking this is really happening. Ryan stood over me, angry, flustered, already rehearsing excuses. "She tripped," he said loudly. "She's always clumsy." And maybe for a second he believed that was enough. What he didn't know was that the entire moment was being recorded. What he didn't know was that I wasn't just his quiet wife who cooked dinner and kept her head down. I had spent years being underestimated, and that night the bill finally came due. My name is Claire Monroe. Or at least that's the name most people knew. What Ryan never bothered to learn was that Monroe wasn't just a last name I picked out of thin air. It was the name behind Monroe Holdings, the private investment group that owned the majority stake in the firm he worked for. I inherited it when I was 24 after my parents died in a plane crash that barely made the news. My father used to say power doesn't announce itself, it waits. I took that to heart. I didn't want my life to be about money or control. I wanted something real. I wanted someone who chose me without knowing what I could give them. Ryan never asked. I thought that meant something. Looking back, the signs were everywhere. The way he talked down to service staff. The way he joked about people being replaceable. The way his ambition slowly turned into entitlement. Then there was Lena. That was the name that started popping up on his phone late at night, always with a smile he didn't use at home anymore. I told myself I was paranoid. I told myself love meant trust. I even told myself I was lucky. Yeah, that happened. The night of the party after the fall, I was taken to the hospital. The security officer stayed with me until the doctors took over. He didn't say much, just told me gently that he'd seen everything, that his body cam had caught it all. In the examination room, listening to the steady beat of my baby's heartbeat, something inside me finally settled. Fear gave way to clarity. I wasn't weak. I had just been quiet. My sister flew in that same night. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She sat beside me and held my hand like a shield. My legal counsel arrived before sunrise with documents already prepared, protection orders, corporate filings, everything I'd avoided touching for years because I wanted a simple life. I signed without hesitation. Not because I wanted revenge, but because I wanted safety. For me, for my child. What I didn't expect was how deep the betrayal ran. While Ryan was busy planning his victory lap, my internal audit team was quietly pulling reports I'd requested months earlier back when something about his expense reports didn't sit right. The findings were ugly. Company funds rerouted. Confidential data shared with competitors. Lavish dinners and hotel rooms billed as client meetings. The affair wasn't just personal, it was funded by my company. The next morning, Ryan walked into the executive boardroom like a king. Tailored suit, confident grin, that same tie I'd seen in a message from Lena weeks earlier. He actually winked at the assistant as he passed. When he saw me seated at the head of the table, he laughed. "What's this?" he joked. "Am I getting ambushed by my own wife?" No one laughed with him. The chairman cleared his throat and asked him to sit. Ryan's smile faltered. Then the screens came on. The footage from the party. The shove, the fall, the ultrasound photo hitting the floor, emails, messages, financial statements. His voice recorded mocking me, calling me boring disposable. You could hear the room turn against him in real time. It wasn't dramatic. It was quiet, worse than yelling.